Hi everyone, this is going to be our first section or first part of Chapter 7 CSA Review. This is going to cover questions 1 through 10 on your CSA sheet. So let's go ahead and get started. Number 1 says, tell whether the angles are adjacent or vertical and then find the value of x. For this one and number 1, those are going to be vertical angles because vertical angles are across from one another. Vertical angles are also equal to one another, so x will be equal to 87 degrees for number 1. Number 2, however, are adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are right next to one another. In order to find x for this one, it's going to take a little bit of work because they are making a supplementary angle, which is equal to 180 degrees. I know I already have 32, so what I'm going to do is subtract 32 from 180, and I get 148. So x is equal to 148 degrees. Number 3 says tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. Remember, complementary is 90 degrees, supplementary is 180 degrees. If they're not 90 or 180, then you would just consider them neither. All we have to do for both of these is add. 43 plus 57 is going to be 100. So this one for number 3 is going to be considered neither. Oops. For number 4, though, if we add 118 and 62, that one will be 180. So that is a supplementary angle. How did we do? Number 5 and 6 both say find the value of x and then classify the triangle. I know that all triangles are equal to 180 degrees. In number 5, I already have 125 and 39 degrees, which give me 164 degrees. To figure out what is left over, I subtract 164 from 180. I get 16 degrees. So for number 5, x is equal to 16 degrees, and this would be considered an obtuse scaling. Make sure you did both of those things, finding out the degree measurements and saying what the triangle is. Number 6 is a little bit easier. I already can tell it's a right triangle based on the right symbol here in this corner. That's going to be 90 degrees and 45 degrees. Together, they make 135 degrees. Subtracting 135 from 180, just like I did before, gives me 45 degrees. So x is equal to 45 degrees. So this is going to be a right isosceles because two sides are the same. Number 7, also finding the value of x. A little bit trickier here because I know that this should be equal to 90 degrees, so what I have to do is write an equation. 3x plus 2x is equal to 90. I can combine like terms before I start to solve for x. 3x's and 2x's make 5x's, so 5x is equal to 90. And then solving for x, I'm just going to divide by 5 on both sides. These 5's will cancel out. So I'll now just have to figure out how many times 5 goes into 90. 5 goes into 9 one time. With 4 left over, bring down that 0, and 5 goes into 40 8 times nicely. So x is equal to 18. Number 8 says draw a triangle with the given angle measurements and then classify the triangle. Remember, the first thing that you're going to need to do is get your protractor, and draw a dot and a line. Next, you take your protractor and connect dot to dot, line to line. When you draw triangles, you will always need to start with the largest degree measurement. In this case, the largest degree measurement is 105. Here's what a 105 degree angle will look like. It's just a little bit larger than 90 degrees. I write 105. And then rotate my paper. It's going to look kind of silly to you because you're not going to see the screen rotate, but what I'm essentially doing is rotating my paper and lining up the protractor to the line I just drew. The next degree measurement I'm going to do is the next largest, which is 40 degrees. So I have my dot to dot, line to line already lined up with my new one, and 40 degree tick mark will be here. Remove the protractor away from it and then connect my dot to the tick mark. If I continue going with this line, I can make the triangle completely closed. So up here would be 40 degrees. And down here should be 35 degrees. I'm checking just for good measure. A little bit off, we're actually 36 degrees, but that's okay. As long as you have those first 2 degree measurements, you're fine. Number 9 and 10. Same thing, or a little bit different here. You have classifying quadrilaterals and then finding the missing angle. For number 9, we know that this one is a quadrilateral, but specifically it is a trapezoid because it only has one pair of parallel lines. I know quadrilaterals should be equal to 360 degrees. So far I have 90 and 90, which is 180. And I also have 125, so 125 added to that is 305. To find out the missing angle, I'm just going to do 360 minus the 305 that I have already, and that's going to give me 55 degrees. So trapezoid and 55 degrees is your answer for number 9. Number 10 is a parallelogram. Specifically, it is called a rhombus. These are easy because if you notice, the opposite angles are equal to one another. So if 56 is across or opposite from x, x will be equal to 56 degrees. This is going to conclude the first half of Chapter 7 review. The next video, we'll watch the rest of the questions. Thanks for tuning in.